Hey YouTubers, this is DJ Vinyl Vertigo. I have been around for a while, but here I am. What prompted me to do a video today, something that I've been wanting to do, but I've been really busy recently with a lot of things going on. Too much to mention. Um, but an icon, an absolute American icon, has passed away and has prompted my thoughts. Chris Jasper, I know, has passed away from the Isley Brothers, and also Jerry Butler passed away. But today I'm going to focus on this one woman who we just lost on the 24th of this month, Roberta Flack. You know, a little quick history on her, Roberta Flack, because I know a lot of people have been doing, you know, tributes and histories of her, so I don't want to keep reiterating, regurgitating the same stuff over and over again. Just going to do some fine points. Born February 10th, 1937. And she just passed away, like I said, on the 24th of this month. Um, she was born in North Carolina. I think her family moved to Virginia. She was a prodigy. She started playing piano at the age of 9. I know she got some kind of scholarship to go to Howard University at the age of 13, and she went to Howard University at 15, being one of the youngest students to enroll in that school. Graduating in at the age of 19. During that time, she met another icon, Donny Hathaway, amongst other people. I mean, she met many people that are very, influential today, but definitely one of her major collaborators at some points in her career, Donny Hathaway. They met at Howard University and became fast friends and lifetime friends until his death. They had strained relationship as well because he had some mental stuff going on, but they were fast friends and remained friends all those years. After she graduated, she became a teacher in different places, and also she started accompanying opera singers in nightclubs. In clubs. I think the Tivoli, I believe, in the D.C. area and Maryland area, probably. And she most notably performed a lot at this club called Mr. Harry's, I think it's called. Mr. Henry's, I think it's called. Maybe it's Mr. Henry's. And she also performed in different jazz clubs. And Les McCann, jazz pioneer Les McCann, discovered her, saw her, found her, and got her to audition for what label? For Atlantic Records, and thus in 1969 she recorded her first album, which is some people's most favorite album, which is First Take, and this album definitely was not a particularly successful record of hers, but as time goes on, like fine wines, it becomes a very savory record to have, and it's pretty inexpensive to get, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have the quality that it has, and this is a major quality record. Opens with Gene McDaniel's "Compared to What," which Les McCann did later on, um, studio and live recording of that famous song "Compared to What," that very political song. She does on here songs by Donny Hathaway, "Our Ages, Our Hearts," Leonard Cohen's "Hey, There's No Way to Say Goodbye." Just some really beautiful songs. And she also does Ewan McCall's "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face," which becomes a hit for her later, not at this time. That becomes a hit for her when in 1972, when Play Misty for Me, which is a film by Clint Eastwood, came out. And Clint Eastwood, actually, his story is that he heard the song when he was driving in a car on Sunset, I think. I'm not sure. I'm probably using poetic license there, but saying where he was, but but he was driving in a car and he heard that song and he found who she was and contacted her and says, "I must use this song in my film." And so she thought he was going to just use an excerpt of it or something like that. But he said, no, I want to play the whole thing in a scene. I want the whole song. She goes, but it's really slow. And it's like, it's like, it's 5 minutes. How long was it? It's 5 minutes and 21 seconds long. You're going to do, and he goes, believe me, it'll work. And it did. And it became a huge hit. It was on the charts, on the, I guess, Billboard charts or whatever charts, about six weeks straight. And the rest is history. She became an overnight sensation from that particular song, even though the record had already been out for several years. And she'd already been doing other things. So this is her first record. This is a really great record to have. This is a great place to start. The thing about Roberta Flack is that it's hard to compartmentalize her. It's hard to categorize her. Some people think of her as, I know in my home, we thought of her as just an anomaly because everybody had a different thought. Some people in my family thought she's jazz. Some people thought she was pop. Some people thought she was soul. And others thought she's a combination of all three. I thought she was a combination of all three. My father put her records with the jazz because of her voice and her attack on music. She wasn't like in your face, but what she did left an impression because she came to you from a much more, I don't want to say cerebral, but much more, I guess you could say cerebral, but no, there was a lot of heart in what she did, but not in that hitting you in the face kind of way. More laconic, very more laid back, very quiet. And there's a quiet passion about what she does. And I think that probably comes from her classical training and mixing with her gospel training. She kind of tempered the two and then found this beautiful medium where the soul comes out, but it's not screaming at you. It's whispering to you. And so that's the kind of artist she was. Then she comes out with another, the second album, Chapter 2, which was 1970. Love that picture. It's a very iconic picture of her. Chapter 2 on Atlantic Records. And it opens up with Reverend Lee, which is a really, it's a really kind of sassy type song about a reverend who really got into the wrong situation. You know what I mean? It's such a good song. It's a really great song to do. Do What You Got to Do is a great song. Just Like a Woman, Bob Dylan. She does a really nice version of that. Another song on side 2, Gone Away by Donny Hathaway and Curtis Mayfield and Leroy Hudson. Beautiful, beautiful tune. She does Buffy St. Marie's tune called Until It's Time For You to Go, which is probably my favorite version of that song. Just love it. She does The Impossible Dream as nobody else can do. It's just, it's beautifully done. It's just beautifully done. Because it's not harsh. It's done in a Flack way. Which is very quiet, but passionate at the same time. So this is another really great record. Her early records are probably her best, but I think you can find great stuff on everything she's done. She changed with the time, so of course her 80s records sound kind of 80s in some ways, but she still has that Roberta Flack signature. The next record is called Quiet Fire, and this is on Atlantic as well. And this one is 1971. Go Up Moses, which really speaks to her gospel background. She wrote that with Joel Dorn, who produced her first album, who produced her first few albums, I believe. Yeah. She worked with Joel Dorn a lot. And she wrote this with Joel Dorn and Jesse Jackson. I wonder if it's Reverend Jesse Jackson. I don't know. But she does on this Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Beautiful version of it. And it was string and voice arrangements done by Emilio Deodato. And the background vocals on this was Newmark Boys Chorus and Sissy Houston, Kermit Moore and George Ritchie, Seymour Barab, and uh, uh, oh no, I'm sorry, Sissy Houston, Kermit Moore, George Ritchie, Seymour Barab, and Ted Hoyle do the cellos. So you can imagine what this is like. This is a Paul Simon song, of course. Sunday and Sister Jones, another great song by Eugene McDaniels. And keep in mind, on all these albums, Roberta Flack is playing piano on all these. She's not just singing; she's playing piano on all these as well. And she's a great piano player. She does by the Bee Gees. She does "Will You" on the second side, "To Love Somebody." She also does "Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow" by Carole King and Jerry Kaufman. And her last song on the record is "Sweet Bitter Love," written by Van McCoy, who is a very famous for his disco song "Rocky Baby." Yeah. Let's see. And all the arrangements are done by Roberta Flack. The basic arrangements on this record. Really great record to get. Now this one, I don't want to cause controversy, but this is a really good record. This is 1972, I think it is. Yeah, this is her first collaboration with her first major collaboration with Donny Hathaway, and that's Donny Hathaway with Roberta Flack, and it is amazing. The music arrangement is done by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, and it's one of those records that this is also produced by Joel Dorn, but also Arif Mardin. They do a lot of kind of famous songs on this record, but they do it in the way that they do. She has her, and I think this record, Donny Hathaway brings a little bit more soul out of her on this record, and I think she tempers him down. So they kind of level each other out. So he doesn't go too crazy, wild, and she's not too quiet. They're like right in the middle with each other, and they just work so beautifully together. It's a beautiful union. It starts off with "I Who Have Nothing." "You've Got a Friend," that's a Carole King song. Then "Baby I Love You," which is a cute, that song, "Baby I Love You." It was made famous by Aretha Franklin. A song that really speaks to me is a song written by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway called "Be Real Black for Me." And you got to realize this is 1972. So there's a lot going on at that time. I mean, all the assassinations have already happened. A lot of dark stuff has happened. There's a Black Power movement that was happening and still going on, and so this is Black Power kind of thing was happening, was really percolating at that time. "Be Real Black for Me" is a great song, and they finished up with "You Lost That Loving Feeling," which is a Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil and Phil Spector song. The second side, they do a classic, "For All We Know," which is, it's interesting. That's a song that Donny Hathaway sings on that, and this record prompted me to learn how to sing "For All We Know" in this way, in the Donny Hathaway way. This is just a side note. That became my audition piece whenever I was auditioning for any vocal things, any kind of singing things in New York, and I almost always got the job when I sang that song. So just to let you know. Because, Mazzy said that it's not his favorite record. He didn't say it was a bad record. He just said it wasn't his favorite. And he said it was kind of schmaltzy. And I don't think it's schmaltzy. I think it's just a lot of popular songs on this record. And so you might consider it schmaltzy, but when they take these songs, I'm sorry, I don't think it, I don't agree. But, everybody, to each his own. Everybody feels, have their own opinion on that kind of thing. So, anyway. "When Love Has Grown," a Donny Hathaway tune again, and then another song that just blows my mind. It's a traditional song, a spiritual song called "Come Ye Disconsolate," and they just kick butt on that song. It's just puts a lump in your throat the way they sing it. It's amazing. And they finish up with Mood on this record. This record, if you ever see it, pick it up. It's great. It's a great album, and it. I think Roberta Flack was so moved by putting this together with Donny Hathaway that she was emboldened to want to do another bunch of sessions with him, which she did, but they never really completed all the sessions that they wanted to do. But the release did come out, and you'll see it in a little while. During those sessions is when Donny Hathaway was starting to really have more of a mental breakdown, and he eventually passed away, either jumping or falling out of a window in New York City to his death. And so they never really finished the sessions, but she did complete the album and put it out for what they had. They had enough material to put the record out, and you'll see it in a little bit. Next is Killing Me Softly. And I think as a teenager, this was the first time that I really paid attention to Roberta Flack. This song, Killing Me Softly, was on the radio so much that it didn't even, but it's such a good song that it didn't even bother. I don't think it bothered anybody that this song was on so much. It was on all the time, and everybody would sing along with it. It's just a great song to sing along with. It's a sad song, but it's a beautiful song. She also does a song Jessie on here, No Tears in the End, and then on the other side she does a song called River. She finishes up the second side with a song by Leonard Cohen called Suzanne, 9 minutes and 45 seconds, and she just stretches it out, and it's just so beautiful. This record is just amazing. It's another one of those records that you can see around a lot and probably get it relatively inexpensively. This is 1973. Not everything I have of hers. I'm just showing you my vinyl first, and then I'll show you the CDs, because I have some of her stuff on CD. I don't have everything on vinyl. This record, Blue Lights in the Basement, 1977. We're skipping around a little bit. Why Don't You Move In With Me? Another Eugene McDaniels song. This album was produced by Robina Flack, Joe Furla, and Eugene McDaniels. Exec produced by Ahmet Erdogan. And the song on this album, well, the 25th of last December was a great song. I don't know if there's any... Oh, The Closer I Get to You is the big hit on this album. And again, it's her and Donny Hathaway once again singing that. Just a beautiful, beautiful record. And it really cemented the way that Donny Hathaway and Roberta Flack sounded together. They just had such magic together. She had magic with other people, but I don't think anything like Roberta and Donny Hathaway. The two of them just had such a chemistry, musical chemistry, vocally and just arrangement-wise. There's another album called Roberta Flack, and this is 1978. And it opens with a song called What a Woman Really Means. And it ends with a song called When It's Over, which is another great song. Ralph McDonald wrote What a Woman Really Means. Ralph McDonald was a major jazz percussionist and drummer. And she does You Are Everything, which is a Tom Bell and Linda Creed song. You know, that's a really famous song. If I Ever See You Again by Joe Brooks. Come Share My Love by Joe Brooks as well. Yeah. I have to listen to this some more because this one I haven't listened to in a while, so I can't tell you too much about this one musically. I have to listen to it. I haven't been able to listen to every single thing. but I'm just showing you the things I had. Now, the record that I was telling you about earlier, Donny Hathaway was a major collaborator with Roberta Flack for many years, and towards the end of his life, they were back in the studio, but he was not showing up enough, and when he was there, he was having paranoid episodes, and it was just really difficult to have him there to be working together. And then one day they just found out that he was gone, and so there was no more sessions with him, obviously. But this album came out, Roberta Flack featuring Donny Hathaway, instead of saying Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, because he was not on every song. But only 7 songs were done. But this record was very successful. It's some of the last stuff you hear of Donny Hathaway. This is produced by Roberta Flack and Eric Mercury. It opens with "Only Heaven Can Wait for Love." Just about every song on here is amazing. She does a Gwen Guthrie tune called "God Don't Like Ugly," which was a big hit for her. "You Are My Heaven" was also a hit. That's a Stevie Wonder song. Stevie Wonder with Eric Mercury. There's a song called "Disguises." And then we go to the other side. "Don't Make Me Wait Too Long" is a great song. And then a big, in the clubs, this was huge. "Back Together Again" was a huge, huge hit for them. And it's a very long song, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. And it's such a great song. And it's just the great song to dance to. It's really big. And it finishes up with "Stay With Me." But this album, I wore this out. I have this both on vinyl and on CD. This is a promo copy. There you go. And then the final record that I have, the final piece of vinyl that I have of Roberta Flack, is "I'm the One." This is in the 80s, and that's what I mean. She kind of changed. She changed with the 80s, and it's so weird that it goes upside down. This is 1982, and the song "Ordinary Man" is really good on here. "My Love for You," "Love and Let Love." But the big hit song on this record was written by Carol Bayer Sager and Burt Bacharach and Bruce Roberts. "Making Love," from the film "Making Love." It was the theme to "Making Love," which was an early gay film in the 80s. Yeah. It was about a man who was a family man who discovered his sexuality and had to figure all that kind of stuff out. That he was actually attracted to men or whatever. Very interesting, sad film, but the song was just great. Roberta Flack. Now, Roberta has done a lot of really good stuff. And there's also been some stuff that I wasn't too crazy about, but I want to focus on the things that I like. Here's my CDs. Let's see, Roberta Flack. Here we are. So what I have on... Oh, that's what I don't have. Oh, I thought I had that one. I guess not. Not on vinyl. Oh, I would love to have that. I have it on CD. "Feel Like Making Love." That was a really big hit for her. This album also has a vocal version of Grover Washington Jr.'s "Mr. Magic," which is a song that Amy Winehouse does years later. It ends with a song called "She's Not Blind," which is really good. It's a very, very good song. But this record, to me, for my father, cemented her as a jazz artist, because she sounded more jazzy on this record to my father. "Feel Like Making Love." She also had a record called "Set the Night to Music." And this one What year is this? 1991. This is the 90s. And on this record, Set Tonight to Music was a big hit for her with Maxi Priest. It's not exactly my favorite. It just doesn't really do it for me. She does a really nice version of Unforgettable. She also does You Make Me Feel Brand New, really nice. And she does Summertime on this as well. But the production has kind of still has like a kind of 80s sound to it. So it's not. This is not one of my favorites. And again, lovely stuff. All of her stuff's lovely. I just, that one just doesn't stand out to me. What does stand out to me is the final thing that I bought by her. It's not her. I think her final record was a Christmas record, if I'm not mistaken. This one was done in 2012. And it's called Let It Be, Roberta. I think a lot of you know that Roberta was neighbors with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. There's a picture of them together. And this is Roberta doing Beatles tunes, all Beatles tunes. And this is very impressive. She does her own arrangements of Beatles tunes in her own way. And it's very interesting arrangements and attacks on Beatles tunes. Incredible. I just love it. Every time I listen to it, I hear something different. She does In My Life, Hey Jude, We Can Work It Out, Let It Be, Oh Darling, Should Have Known Better, The Long and Winding Road, Come Together, Isn't It a Pity, If I Fell, and I Love Him, and Here, There, and Everywhere. I mean, amazing. And the last one, Here, There, and Everywhere, is done in Carnegie Hall, I believe. That's a live version. But, yeah. Definitely check this out. It's well worth looking for. Yeah. Let It Be, Roberta by Roberta Flack. And I have a little story about Roberta Flack. She came to in I believe it's 2015. Maybe it was. I think it was 2015. Maybe it was later than that. I don't remember. No, it was 2015. Yeah, it was 2015. 10 years ago. For a long time, because I'm a DJ at WMNF, I was approached by one of the managers, people in management at Ruth Eckerd Hall's Capitol Theater in Clearwater, Florida, and it's a live music venue. And they asked me to come up, and they said, you can stay and watch the show, but we want you to come up and we want you to introduce this one, introduce that one. And so I would go up like at least once a month and tell people, get on stage and welcome everybody in and tell them what the show's coming up, upcoming shows and that kind of stuff. And then I would do a little blurb about whoever was coming out on stage, and I would say, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for blah, blah, blah. And one of the times I was asked to come up and do Roberta Flack's, and I didn't really get to meet her because she was 78 at that time, I guess, and she was pretty frail. This is before she was really sick, but she was pretty frail. And I remember she was in the green room, and I saw her in the green room, and she was surrounded by her people and stuff, and they said, go out, do your thing, introduce her, but when you leave the stage, go to the opposite side of the stage. We don't want her tripping on you. We don't want anything to go wrong because she's pretty frail, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So I introduced her, and I turned around and I walked off the stage the opposite direction, stood side stage behind the curtain. And she looked over, and she gave me a look, and she kind of winked, which I was really like, wow, because I gave her a nice little setup, I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think she was going to even hear what I, had to say, but she heard me, and it was really nice little connection. I did want to have a conversation with her because there's another story connected to Roberta Flack, and what happened was. So she went up on stage, and they kind of walked her on the stage, and she was pretty frail, and I was afraid that it it was going to be kind of a tragic evening. But let me tell you something. She sat at that piano, and it was like she was back in the 70s. She sounded beautiful, and her piano playing was amazing, and she had such a stage presence, and she talked to the audience, and she did her thing. Her voice was on point. It was great. And when she was done, someone came up and walked her off the stage to make sure she didn't slip or anything like that. And it was it was like, but several years before, when I lived in New York, um, I was performing somewhere. I forget where I was performing, but this guy came up to me and he says, "Here's my card. You know, you really, you really should be out there doing some backup stuff. You should be working with people. You've been making in this industry, da 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 da." And so I called him, and he said, Roberta Flack's got a tour coming up. Aretha Franklin's got a tour coming up. I can get you with one or both of them, blah, blah, blah." And this was around the time that I believe, I think it must have been, oh God, I forgot who it was. But anyway, she had to go and sing in Washington, D.C., Aretha Franklin. So that never materialized. And I was supposed to meet with Aretha Franklin's people and see if I can become a backup singer for her, and then eventually Roberta Flack. And that, of course, did not happen. None of that happened. I was so disappointed. But I wanted to tell her, I almost was a backup singer for you years ago. Silliness. But anyway, just so happens, luck of the draw. Things happen and don't happen. I still became a backup singer anyway, and I worked with other people, but I didn't get a chance to work with Roberta Flack or Aretha Franklin. But Roberta Flack definitely etched her place in the music industry as being a person who has an indelible, she's left an indelible mark on a lot of people's musical lives. Whether you followed her or not, her music has come into your life in some form or fashion. In a film, at the mall, on the radio, in a car, there's always some kind of memory with one of her songs, at least one or two or three of her songs. And that you cannot deny, whether you're a fan or not. And I don't think there's many people could say that they're not a fan of Roberta Flack. May you rest in peace, Roberta Flack. Thank you for your contribution to music and to professionalism and to greatness. She will be missed, but she left such a huge catalog of work. I mean, albums that just, if you sit down and listen to them, they touch you. And that's important. She's not disposable. She will be with us forever. Thank you. Keep listening to great music.